Welcome to APO Talk. This is Ji Suyun from APO Secretariat, and we are broadcasting from Tokyo, Japan. The APO is an intergovernmental organization with 21 member economies in the Asian Pacific region. And APO serves as a think tank and provide consultancies to promote productivity, innovation, and competitiveness. For more information, please explore our website, APO, Asian Productivity Organization. Today, we're going to discuss building diversity and innovation experience in the public sector. The public organizations strive for diversity that leads to innovation. And here the diversity refers to gender and social minorities, and including these groups into the public workforce is widely adopted as a government performance measure. And process innovations in the public service delivery also increasingly involve the previously underrepresented groups. So for today's discussion, we invited two webinar speakers from Thailand and Indonesia to share their experience and insights on making a difference, achieving desired outcomes in the public organizations and public sectors, and serving their users better. The speakers are Dr. Titiek Kartika Hendrastiti. She is a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, University of Bengkulu, Indonesia. She studied at Gajah Mada University and Erlangga University in Indonesia, and the Institute of Social Studies in the Netherlands. And Dr. Titiek has held various positions from related to minority inclusive organizations with over 20 years of consultancy and academic experiences in gender studies for the public sector. And Professor Pikul Ittihirunwong, she is a lecturer at Faculty of Political Science and Public Administration, Chiang Mai University in Thailand. She studied at Thammasat University in Thailand and the University of Wisconsin, USA. As a well-known expert in change management in public organizations, she has published a report on public administration, decentralization, and sustainable community development as well. So later we'll have an interview with the two resource persons. So to our viewers, please leave your questions with your names and country in the live chat box, and we're gonna share your questions at the interview. So before we start, may I invite our resource persons to say hello to our viewers. So first, can I invite Professor Pikul first?
Yes.
Would you say hello to our viewers, please?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon from Chiang Mai.
Okay, thank you. And Dr. Titiek, please.
Hello, good morning, everyone. In Indonesia, already noon right now.
Okay, thank you very much. So can we start with Professor Pikul's presentation?
Yes, okay. Okay. Can you see it? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Good afternoon from Chiang Mai, Thailand. Thailand is in Southeast Asia. You may know that, and she is a member of Southeast Asian Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Okay, my topic today is diversity in public organization Thailand experience. Okay, before I go to the diversity, I'd like to tell you the information about Thai public organization. The Office of Commission for Development Public Service in Thailand, they provide a condition for considering Thai public organization. They give us 6 conditions. First one is relation with government. This condition is about how organization establish a form of organization, the appointment of high position in organization. And the second condition is the activity in one organization. It is a public service that serve the people in the nation. The budget is the third condition. The revenue or the income of organization come from government. And the people status is the fourth condition. There is 4 types of people status. You may observe that they are the same word, but in Thai we have a different meaning for each word. They are bureaucrat, state enterprise employee, state employee, government employee. And the fifth condition is sort of power. We have various kinds of law, and the public organization must get power for their duty and responsibility from many kinds of law. And the ownership is about the initial capital of an organization. If they get initial capital from government, so we can consider that is public organization. And the origin of the establishment and the government share some part in that organization. Okay. So when we learn that there are 6 conditions, we can consider the public organization in Thailand. We have 4 kinds of public organization. First is government agency. We have 3 levels for this kind of government. It's central, regional, and local. The second kind of public organization is state enterprise, and we have 2 small kind of this organization, state-owned company and state-established company. And also we have 2 more public organization. Maybe it's the same word as public organization. We call it public organization. And the new form of organization, now we don't have the specific name for this kind of organization, so we call it new form organization. So after I give you information about the public organization, then I move to diversity in public organization. I think I should start from 1928 for this topic. In this topic, we start in 1928 because there is the first law we call civil service law that is the law about personnel management. And this law open an opportunity for general people to join a public organization. So the number of people in public organization increase and open opportunity for everyone in society, and also every level of education to join public organization. Then we move to religion issue. After we apply merit system in our personnel management and open opportunity for general people, then we have open opportunity for other religion people. And then we the public organization provide uniform for them. And then we move to further, 2010, we have empowerment of person with disability. And in 2015, we have Gender Equality Act. Then we move from issue to issue. From the past until now, we have various topics of diversity in public organization. For this slide, I'd like to share you the information about the proportion of male and female in public organization separated by a kind of organization. On the left graph, you can see that the number of female in public organization, especially in justice process, in justice process, I mean the court, attorney, or policeman, you can see that the number of female is less than male. But in other kind of organization, the number of female is higher than male. And then I move to the right graph. You can see the education level of people in public organization. You can see that the number of female is higher. They have a bachelor degree higher than male. But in PhD level, we can see that the number of male and female is equal. So these two graphs can help us understand that female has higher education, but the number of female in high position or in the justice process is less than male. Okay, so I move to the issue of uniform. So public organization open opportunity for people with different religion to join public organization, and for Islamic, we provide uniform for them. You can see that Islamic women can wear hijab, and you can see the different a little bit different from the normal uniform and uniform for Islamic women. You can see that they use the same color, but the style or design they use the style from the instruction of Islam teaching. Okay, I move more to disabled or person with disability. In 2010, the government launched Empowerment of Person with Disability Act. This act apply for the private sector, private organization, and public organization. The focus or the main point of this act is to increase number of person with ability in public sector and private sector. And in this act, they push public and private organization to high more number of person with disability. At least in this act, push public organization to set quota 1% for hiring person with disability every year. Then I have a statistic in 2019. This is still in progress. The target in 2019, we can see that the target position is 17,999, but the result number is 7,105 position. So this is still in progress to achieve the aim of this act. So I give you an example of the Ministry of Public Health to follow the law. And for this ministry, they have 229 something state employee in total, but they set quota 1%. At least the ministry must hire people with disability 2,298 persons. But in the case that they cannot achieve this number, so they have another way to follow. In this case, the ministry plan to hire person with disability 1 or 2%, and they also provide another way for achieve the aim of the law by allowing the person with disability opportunity to get benefit from the area of the office in a local and regional unit. And also, if they cannot provide the area for them, they can hire private business to serve the person with disability in a responsible area of each unit. Okay, I move to another topic of diversity in public organization. I'd like to mention about LGBT. There is LGBT in state agency, in public organization, and some of them can open their identity, and some they have to hide their identity. And I think about this issue, that we can see that the this issue is very tough in school, particularly in primary and secondary school. It's the challenge for public educational organization to open opportunity for LGBT to be a teacher. And I think it is not acceptable for a teacher or instructor to dress like female. This is the way they open their identity, right? So they cannot, or they can dress, but they will not be accepted by the administrator, the head, the leader in organization. For this issue, I give you 3 samples. First one is LGBT teacher is accepted by school, by the administrator of the school. I think she is popular in society. We can find her clip video in YouTube. And she start from going to LGBT beauty contest, and when she get reward, she give the reward to or to school. For instance, she went to one contest because she want to provide drinking water system for her school, for the student. Then she go to the contest, and she gave the reward to the school for providing drinking water in that school. Then she is accepted. And the other 2 example of LGBT dress like female is not acceptable. One case, the first case is in secondary school. She dressed like female, and she is complained by the administrator and claim and accuse her that she has improper behavior. And the last case happened in university. She is an instructor in university and dressed like female, and is accused of improper behavior again. And she sent her case to the court, and she win the court, and she can get back to work. Okay, I like to finish my presentation here. I gave you an idea, general idea about the diversity in Thailand, in Thai public organization, and the progress of this issue will be assessed and catch on. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Pikul. It was a good presentation to know the landscape, the general ideas about the Thai public organizations in accepting the diverse workforce. So now let's move to the Indonesian case for the government public service delivery for making change in adopting the diversity. So can I invite Professor Titiek for your presentation?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jisoo. As a moderator, let me try to put my PowerPoint. Can you see it?
Yes, great.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, and all the audience, I'm so flattered to be invited here in APO virtual talk with the theme building diversity and innovation experience in the public sector. In line with the theme, here I offer a title rethinking a citizen-centric notion for public service innovation and productivity. Let me bring you to the Indonesian context. I start this presentation with the Indonesian diversity. As an island state, it comprised of many ethnic, sub-ethnic, and also languages, lots of races, and also religion. The composition of the current population in the year 2020, we can see at the figures one here. Okay, let me go to the next figure. Here I show you the percentage of the population of the inhabitants of large island in Indonesia. You can see that we actually have imbalance in the percentage of settler, and it's also consequence to the distribution of religion, ethnicity, and race diversity. I have another figure, figure 3. This figure says, we call it a geopolitical map between inner and outer islands. Actually, this geopolitical map is a part of colonization history. It brings consequences of inequality in development, technological advancement, innovation, and productivity of the services. But nowadays, we are aware of the inequality access and services, and we try to cope with this matter seriously. Okay, I just want to show you shortly about our nation ideology, what we call it, unity and diversity. In practical level, we still challenged by the intersectionality in terms of gender, race, ethnic, religion, culture, spatial differences, socioeconomic classes, and also access to technology. 10 days ago, we just celebrate our 25th Independence Day on the 17th of August. Up to now, we are still remaining to discuss about the best practices of unity in diversity. We are still looking for a better form of ideology and practical life. Okay, we are going to the next slide. Here in this presentation today, I underline the democratization process in public services in current Indonesian context. Here I promote a citizen-centric, which consists of citizen interest and citizen access, public institution, identification of need and service intervention, and also the public service based on the trust. Accordingly, we also promote the inclusive citizenship towards a public service reform. It is urgent and significant in seeing how far the state and non-state cares about the positioning of citizens as entities to be served. Of course, this public service with the citizen-centric approach want to increase the output or to productivity and enabling citizen. In this context, we also face some challenges like equal access versus cultural and geographical differences. I will leave and skip this slide because of the time, and then going to this slide. Actually, the concept of citizen-centric means democratic participation and equality of citizens and overcoming diversity and listening to various groups of people voices. It is equal to inclusive citizenship. Citizen-centric also fulfill rule of law, fair government, decentralization, trust, and ethic in government, civil service reform, process reform, periodic and independent evaluation. In the practical level, it is have to be re-engineering processes to make a governance citizen-centric. It's also adoption of approach to modern technology, right of information, citizen charter, an independent evaluation of services, grievance redressal mechanism, and the active citizen participation. The big question that we face is how is public service related to innovation and productivity? I believe that public services are humanitarian perspective. So in public service, we have to respect on three elements: respect to culture, respect to custom, and respect to the values. In Indonesian context, it is also challenging because we are having cultural value and custom which really diverse in all over the region. In this presentation, a prime discussion is borrowing a citizen-centric, which also refer to gender equality framework. Especially, it adopts a gender mainstreaming in reaching the productivity of the outcomes. During we using gender mainstreaming as a tool in diverse public services, we already go to the ECOSOC right, access to education, access to security, and also handling the violence against women and grievance redressal mechanism, reducing sexual violation, both in public and private areas. And again, we still face the challenges of political interest about the budget and watchdog. I will also skip this slide. If you want to discuss later, I will go back to this slide. By taking mainstreaming gender as a crucial issue, we already have a national gender mainstreaming policy via the presidential decree in the year 2000. It has been a guide for the National Long-Term Development Plan 2005 to 2025. It confirmed the Indonesian government commitment to gender equality with specific laws in place and aligning the National Development Agenda, Sustainable Development Goals, particularly on the Goals 5, gender equality. To have zero tolerance policy, the government using some laws like the Law on Domestic Violence 2004, the Victim of Protection Law 2006, the Law of Anti-Human Trafficking, and also the Law on the Protection of Women and Anti-Gender-Based Violence in 2009. Okay, under the presidential decree, the follow-up of the presidential decree in the year 2000, now we already have the local institution called Center for Integrated Protection for Women Empowerment and Children. Up to now, we already have 33 centers in all over Indonesian provinces out of 34 provinces in Indonesia. Under the Center for Integrated Protection for Women Empowerment and Children, they usually have the local agencies to have task force according to their need. For example, some of them have task force for the empowerment of women and children, and some of them also have task force to eliminate domestic violence cases. I also leave and skip this slide because it's a little bit long, and I will go to this framework, enabling and output. I'm interested to analyze what we have during 20 years gender mainstreaming policy by using this framework. This framework composed of element of enablers like people and culture. People and culture, institutional system and processes, partnership and collaboration, leadership and communication, facilitated by tool and technology to come with the good outputs as a result of the process. Here, I'm inserting the gender mainstreaming into framework in the right framework. Here in this line, by using this gender mainstreaming into the framework, gender mainstreaming is actually suitable to be part of the framework, as we can see from this framework. It is definitely support the concept of citizen centric, because the outcomes guarantee of the equal gender equality of the policy. Okay, in line with the framework and also the gender mainstreaming policies, right now we have already evaluate the performance of gender mainstreaming through gender index. I show you here the best 10 gender index province is in Indonesia, from Bali, Jogja, and so on. And the 10th position is North Sumatra. The picture here I show you is an example of how task force members on duty, they actually not sitting at the office, but they're doing outreach. So they go to the villages and also to the family for victims of the gender-based violence. Lesson learned from the gender practices in combating domestic and sexual violence. We can draw these figures by accommodating gender principle here in the center as a national agenda, and then give respect to the local geographical and cultural diversity. Means that we have approach of affirmative. By using this framework means that we have a unique institution and frameworks in provincial and district level. So that is why I call it a core periphery of gender mainstreaming practices. To end of my presentation, it's I wrap up the presentation into 3 main points. First, there is a nexus of partnership between public service, productivity, and innovation. To serve the public on issue of women and children equally and productively, we adopting gender mainstreaming notion is the best way out. And then the last, to mainstream a gender equality perspective in public services and focusing a notion of diversity is an enabling innovation. It fulfills the objectives of the citizen-centric paradigm as well. That's all I can share with you, and then we will continue to the Q&A session. Thank you, Ms. Jisoo.
Thank you, Dr. Titiek. I think it's an interesting presentation that we can share something in common with Professor Pikul's presentation. So let's have interview. Throughout the presentations, we have some questions. So the first question, maybe it would be better to understand the general landscape in each country. So for that one, can I ask Professor Pikul that how do the Thai public organizations face the change in general?
Face the change in general. I think we already adapt our public organization to face the change in our society. For instance, we have a commission we call the Office of what's that? The Development of Civil Service. And then I think the public organization will have a way to change itself to follow the idea of this commission, this office, to face the change. and we open more for the different and the diversity in our society. Yes.
Yes. So I think in your presentations, like one of the change that the public organizations is doing for is like making regulations or
Handbook.
laws.
Yes, regulation and handbook. We have regulation first, and then provide handbook. In regulation is was in the guideline, and we have more in detail like handbook to provide the process step by step to each organization to follow. For instance, in planning manpower, we have a handbook for calculating the manpower in each organization, step by step.
Yes. Like one slide shows the act, like Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities Act, which was enacted in 2010. And then we can see the target position of the disabled. It was around 18,000 by 2019. And then the result number was around 7,100. So we believe there are regulations and there are government supports through the documentations like legislations and rules in many official way. But actually, if you look at the field practices, there's also challenges. And I think that makes some kind of the gap between the result number and the target number for the positions of disabled. So what's your view in bridging the gap? Do you see any possible ideas or alternatives for recommendations?
Oh, yes, I think for this issue, the person with disability, there are many kinds of people with disability, and I think the public organization cannot afford all this group of people, so they can choose or recruit the person that relate to their duty. And what's that? For this act, there is no punishment to our public organization or private organization to follow the law, but they have more choice for public organization and private organization if they cannot achieve the target. As I mentioned in my example, the Ministry of Public Health, if the public organization cannot reach the target number, they have another choice, two choice. First choice, they can provide their area for person with disability to get profit. For instance, have a shop, small shop for person with disability to do the business, small business in the area of Ministry of Public Health or the agency of the ministry at regional and local level. And also, if they cannot provide the area, they can choose the last choice. They have to provide service to serve person with disability in each area, in each local or regional organization. Yes.
Thank you. So the governments provide some kind of alternatives of hiring the disabled, like not just within the public organizations, but provide another type of employment in the area.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. And I think that's a similar case to Dr. Titiek, because since 2000, I think not only just Indonesia and Thailand, but all other countries have the same experience. Like entering 2000, many countries start to have some actions and policies, rules for gender mainstreaming as well. Not only gender mainstreaming, not only gender mainstreaming, but also other policies to include minorities. And in case Dr. Titiek, in Indonesia, you've provided many policies specifically gender mainstreaming, and we're wondering if you've experienced the same challenges like Professor Pikul shared. So can you share how the gender mainstream policy has been delivered so far?
Well, okay. In the year 2000, when the presidential decree was released, it was very hard and it went very slow. But after 2005, I remember most of the non-governmental organization or NGO took some action, and then they doing training and also demand to have some kind of negotiation with the government, particularly for the locals, local NGO and also local doing advocacy to the local government. So I think after 5 years, slow action from the government, non-governmental organization took the possibility to, to put the gender mainstreaming into the policy from the national level to the local level. That is why, if you notice from my presentation, by using gender mainstreaming as a tool, we already put some national laws. And using the national laws, we working at the local levels, like in provincial and also in district level. That is why, according to my opinion, the regulation in national level become a very important tools to encourage the local administration to have gender mainstreaming in their regulation and local laws. And also, can I put something that in local, we have a lot of diversity in terms of custom, language, religion, and so forth. So using the gender mainstreaming as a national commitment, it's much more easier to work in the local administration because local laws and regulation, like they much more, there is some willingness to have gender mainstreaming in the local level because there is a commitment in national level.
Yes. So in continuing your reply, your answer, I think one of your slides introduced the Center for Integrated Protection for Women and Children Empowerment.
Yeah.
That could be the activities delivered like face to face to the real people, to the field.
Yeah, particularly the task force. Actually, the Center for Integrated Protection is a must. So the national ministry in national level, Ministry of Women Empowerment and Children, ensure that every province have the Center of Integrated Protection, and each of the Center of Integrated Protection, they develop kinds of task force depends on the need, and the task force is really facilitate the value, the culture in communities. So I think during the last 10 years, I remember that task force is really helpful in doing in the communities. The Center for Integrated Protection doing like facilitation and also doing evaluation of the task force activities.
Yes, Thank you, Professor Titiek. The next question goes to Professor Pikul, because one interesting point that you presented, I think it's a very special point in Thailand, like that's the LGBT and the social acceptance and awareness in this case. Because you said that the LGBT are accepted by many state agencies that hire their identity. And as far as I know, Thailand is a religious country where 95% of the population believes Buddhism. And in many cases, religions, they deny LGBT culture. So I was a little bit wondering, like, maybe in the first place, there is some kind of social, they don't have like higher social awareness regarding that, or maybe resistance in accepting the new culture. So in this case, did you get through some stages of development of social awareness in accepting the new groups of people in the society? Like, what do you think people accept the change?
Oh, okay. In this case, I think the public organization should be the model for the social awareness. When the public organization open opportunity for LGBT is the model that people can see, and then they will little by little accept LGBT culture. And we can share that the goodness of LGBT, they are really creative and innovative. I think we can get new idea from this group of people. Like I share you that the LGBT teacher who go to contest, she tried to find a way to get result for her public organization, and then she make the society, I mean everyone in the school, that she can devote and share her ability to the school by use her identity in from her culture, because in Thailand we have what is that? LGBT beauty contest, especially you can see that. So I think this is the I have to say that little by little to make social to aware and accept the LGBT. And nowadays we can see that many organizations accept this kind of culture, allow them to wear and dress like female in public organization. But mostly we can see LGBT wear like their identity. I mean, it's the freedom of dressing for their identity in private sector more than in public organization. Anyway, we can see, but maybe very difficult to see or the LGBT dress like female and accept their culture. Yes.
Yes, I see your point. I read an article actually, and it shows some kind of index in terms of creative cities around the world. And the index was whether they accept LGBT or not. And then I don't know about the details about the survey, but they pointed out that the level of accepting LGBT culture shows the creativeness of the cities. So in that case, San Francisco was number one, and you can see Silicon Valley locates there. So basically, their notion was that LGBT.
We don't have another of index to show the creativity, but we can see the product from the organization that come from the LGBT. And I think that in public organization they still don't see the issue that they accept LGBT. For instance, LGBT in Thailand, especially they're really good on beauty. I mean, try to make everything beauty. So the public organization accept this, and they didn't see that they accept their culture. So we don't have index for this. We have only the number index. So we show that if we have not high number of LGBT, it means that our organization accept this group. So we have only one index. That is the issue that I will discuss more. That Thai public organization must create more index to get an idea about the creativity and productivity from LGBT. So now that we have only one index, the number.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Yes, and let's move to the next question. This question goes to Dr. Titiek. And throughout your presentation, the core concept, the heart of your discussion, the core concept is the citizen-centric. And you said that, yes, and then it means democratic participation that listen to the various voices of peoples. And for this, the process could be re-engineered and technology can help. So for this case, I think there's something to share in common with Professor Pikul's presentation as well. So could you share an example of the technology application and or any cases of re-engineering the process?
Yeah, based on our experience, the first phase of gender mainstreaming is very difficult. That is why we, the activists from the non-governmental organization, from the university, and also some progressive personnel of the government employee think about how to, open the complaint of the community who has a problem with domestic violence and also sexual harassment, etc., or gender-based violence. Then we actually, I think during the last 10 years, we already have like a toll call for the emergency to the Center of Integrated Protection. So we also equip the task force with the technology, with now we have very smartphones, so everybody, even in the villages, some of them are already having the handphone, so they can ring the task force to ask for help, because when the victims stay in the village and far from the police office, then they needs to help from the task force to report to the police station and also to the hospital. Now we urge one-stop center in terms of explaining the accident in every station, like in police or in the hospital or in the center. So we developed a one-stop center that's already equipped with the technology. Of course, if you ask us about, is that very effective? Well, some areas are effective, but some province or some district are still in process to have that, because I should say that social change is a clue to support the enabler element. This is a foundation to change to the 4 elements of the framework from my presentation about how to change people and culture, institution, system, and process. So technology is facilitated. So we believe that right now, through the social media, we also encourage them to, ask for help, to call the task force to get help of the accident which happen in far or remote areas. So I think social media is one of the important tools to get in touch between the victims and the task force. Of course, we have to remind the task force because the secret of the victim's identity is the prime point in this case.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. We've got a question from our viewers, from Ellen van der Laan from the Philippines. She asked, like, how do you balance the diversity of belief, culture, custom, and the implementation of the law? Like, how do the diversity affect the making in your country? I think it goes it goes to the same question, like the balance between diversity and the harmonization, unity, because as a one nation, we have to work together. So sometimes unity is more important than diversity, regardless all the differences like the laws and then culture and everything. In that case, how do you manage these two different
Yeah, honestly, I have to say the truth that it has been not easy to do this, but at least we keep the gender mainstreaming as a national commitment to protect the interests of women and children. At least we have that presidential decree in hands, and then encourage the local government. Of course, the encouragement came from the non-governmental organization, from the university, and also the community interest groups, etc., to enforce the local government to mainstream the gender equality in their regulation and local laws. We actually practice, to push in the village laws and village regulation to have gender mainstreaming. So particularly, it's not only for the gender-based violence. We also push them to have the gender budgeting and also affirmative action for the local leadership. So I should say that it is not easy. This is not simple, but if we allow the local custom, local culture, then progressive groups of the local can work with the gender mainstreaming commitment in national level with the presidential decree. It's really like weapon, it's like weapon to talk to the local leaders, because we also face the religion leaders who refuse to have what is gender equality, what is gender mainstreaming. We're not necessary to have that. That's a Western value, etc., Western ideology, etc. So, as I said before, social change is a clue. So, we in the advocacy activities, we always have like socialization and also community training to to train people with the critical thinking, to know about the women and children human right, connecting with the local custom and local culture.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I like to add for my Thai case. I think in the future, Thailand will face the aging society, and it means that the number of labor in our country is less and less, and then we need our manpower from our whole country to help us together face the aging society or the future of us. And I think this is the way. I think the situation can help us to make our people realize that everyone has to join together to face the future problem. Right. The law can enforce only the number in organization, but not the quality of diversity in organization. So I think the situation in the future can help us to join everyone to engage, to ask everyone to engage in the problem we face. Yes. And public organization is the biggest employer. So the public organization or government can uh, uh, make them as a model for normal people to realize, aware, and embrace the diversity in in all level of public organization. Right.
Yeah, so you mean like citizen centered, like Dr. Titiek says, we need more participatory, democratic practices. More.
Yeah.
Yes. And the
Engagement.
situation will help us to push it faster, to make them aware and realize.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's the one of the ways of re-engineering the processes that we can
Right.
think of in a more innovative
Yes.
way. Yes. We have another question from a viewer from Indonesia. I think this question can go to both of you. From Naomi, she asked like how to view the innovation in the public sector, especially for community service in this new normal area. So this would be a novel question under the COVID-19 situation. So do you see any differences in challenging the public service delivery in the time of the new normal? So can I ask Professor Titiek first?
Okay. Actually, I also, so glad and happy because right now the community group are already, ready to fight, about how to maximize the gender mainstreaming approach in their daily life. During the pandemic or the outbreak of COVID-19, we ready with the local legal draft to be, part of the tool that we can use. The tool during the pandemic or the new era after the outbreak. So we actually prepare, unlike 20 years ago, that now is the gender mainstream is not belong to the educated groups, community groups, but gender mainstreaming now is acknowledged by like grassroots women or grassroots people groups. So they are quite fast to have a, idea to have a legal draft for the local regulation and local laws. I think now in national and ministerial activities, they're much more easier, like the work than 10 years or 15 years ago. So I should say that our social media and our technology really help us to talk each other and support each other.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I heard there's more cases of domestic violence under the time of pandemic, so maybe that's the nexus.
Yeah, during the pandemic, yeah.
Yeah, and can I ask to Dr. Pikul for this question?
Okay, innovation. I think it makes the public sector to rethinking about their service at community level, and they have to help them more knowledge, more innovation, to try to use the local knowledge, and plus or mixed with new technology. For instance, we use internet or a website for more information. For instance, like to recheck the weather, and then they can learn that how do they what kind of plant they should choose to grow for that kind of weather. Nowadays there is innovation in various kind. I can see from my colleague research, and then they try to add to push new technology and help the common community to create new innovation that's suitable for them. I think public sector has to change their activity, not as only the provider, but the supporter, right? Support knowledge, support training for them, right? Yes.
Yes, thank you for your answer. So the next question also goes to both of you, because we've been talking about diversity in public sector, but the rim is a little bit different, because Professor Pikul, you're saying inside the public organization, so within the organization itself. And Professor Titiek, your case is beyond the public organization. You are directly reaching to the community and to the people. But in comment, both of you are talking about the public sector in terms of diversity. So how do you interrelate your presentation with each other? How do these two different sectors influence each other? So can I ask Professor Pikul first?
Okay. I think diversity in public sector represent the diversity in our society also, if it is perfect, fully diversity. And with the diversity in public organization, the public organization can understand and aware and can respond properly to our people, and respond in the perspective of the people in our country that are diverse, right? And public organization with diversity can provide service to serve the people that also diverse, that have diversity in our society also. So it's like it can connect to each other. In diversity in public organization can connect to the diversity in society, right? My answer.
Yes, thank you for your answer. Professor Titiek, please.
Yeah, actually, the progressive activities, as far as I know, the bigger involvement or engagement from community or groups outside the government. That is why I don't think the government and also the political parties are really interested in, like imposing gender mainstreaming into our laws. But, the demand of the community are getting bigger and bigger because of the awareness of gender mainstreaming is a tool to get the gender equality. It's growing right now in our society. So I should say that we now have like a bridging collaboration between the activists in the university and also the activists from non-governmental organization and the grassroots community groups. So that is why even though it is very hard to, to do, but the power of the collaboration among some parties are the clue, the clue of accelerate the gender mainstreaming performance, including how the national department in Jakarta, Department of Women Empowerment and Children, are doing with collaboration with CBS, doing the evaluation of gender mainstreaming performance through gender index. It means that the province who have very low index are a little bit shaming about the index. So they also give some award for the provinces who has a very high gender index. So I think we in the government organization, they have some kind of benchmark, benchmark between provinces or district who are very leading on the gender mainstreaming performance, and provinces and district who having very low gender index. Means that gender mainstreaming indicator very not equipped very well.
Yes, thank you for
Did
your
I address your question?
yes.
How is address your question?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, due to time constraints, I would like to ask more, but this would be the last question, I think. The last question would be, because since APO is productivity organization and we're talking about diversity and innovation, so basically it's about keeping the weak and keeping the various voices. And how do you think this keeping the weak and minorities contribute to productivity in the end? Can you share your insights or any kind of lessons learned working in this field from your work area to productivity? So can I ask to Professor Pikul first?
Yeah, difficult question. Actually, it's really difficult to think about this, how to keeping to for productivity in public organization. We think that the law is the way that we can push the public organization to keep diversity in public organization. It's really difficult. Even we have law, we cannot push them to do that. We have indirect way to push them, like make an MOU between the public organization, like the Department of Empowerment the Department of Empowerment Person with Disability, make an MOU with the Ministry of Public Health to push them to have 1% of hiring person with disability. It's really difficult to push them to keep the diversity. This is the first question. And then next question, how to ask them to get benefit from diversity to produce productivity. They will think that if the people come in public organization, they will follow their duty, and then the productivity in organization will increase as normal. So this is really difficult. I think I don't have the specific question for this yet. I will think about it and then I will get an answer in after I catching up the progress of these two law. Okay.
Yes, it's your answers will be appreciated, because you shared your insights. So any kind of alternatives or we're just sharing our experiences and opinions. So
Yes,
every
yeah, we,
idea is
yes.
appreciated.
Okay, I can add that we have training like Titiek give training to community. We have training. We have
Yeah.
what is that? Training and training for the high position administrator, and we have what is it, sharing and exchanging, and maybe the KM knowledge management can help us to help people aware the diversity, and then they can come and consider the ability of the diversity in their organization. I think training can help to produce the productivity in organization for this topic.
Yes, thank you. And can I ask to Professor Titiek?
Okay. Even though I did not put a specific presentation on the disabled groups, actually I forgot also to put the law for disabled protection. I think 2 years ago we released a law on protection for disability groups, and it was also very, very strong advocacy, and very we face lots of difficulties in push the law release 2 years ago. But after the law release, we have now a tools or instrument to protect the disability groups from some kind of social harassment. Like we now have a tool to stop bullying in public sphere, and also now we have like regulation to open the opportunities to disabled groups to work in a public job places. So they actually now much more like protected by the law, including in transportation and public services, etc. I think respect to the disabled group is also means like increasing the productivity of the citizen. Like my focus on the citizen centric means that this is also determinant to the citizen centric, that we give respect to the disabled and give the opportunity, and also having a protection tools. Aside from the disabled groups, we also have a protection on children, particularly in educational institution. Now, the primary or secondary school, we are allowed to go, the non-governmental organization groups are allowed to work together with the school to draft the local or school regulation for better educational institution with respect to the children human rights, and also from the protection from like economic difficulties, from disabilities, from gender what you call it, gender inequality, etc. So I think even though still very difficult, but it works already, because we have some kind of tools and instruments to protect specific groups. It means that, for me, it means this is also productivity.
Yes. Yes,
May
thank you
I
very much.
add something?
Yes.
I just think of it. I I think the word productivity, if the public organization consider this word not in terms of the number, not in terms
Yeah.
of the what is
Mm.
that? We consider it as the whole benefit, whole public interest. So diversity in public organization can produce productivity in public organization, and then we can we we don't left everyone behind. So
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I think if we think in this productivity in this term, in this way, we can ask, we can engage. Everyone can engage in our
Okay.
society and public organization, right?
Yes, I agree with you. Like, uh, we can call this like sustainability as well, right? So
Right.
if we can
Yeah. Yeah.
sustained or inclusive, then in the end, maybe
Yes.
it can
Right.
be stopped at some point. Then anyhow, we cannot deliver any of the activities. So, like to make it inclusive, sustainable, it also one of the ways to keep productivity.
Mm.
Yes, thank you very much for your answer. We're getting to the end of this webinar, so let me summarize today's talk. Actually, I've seen many reports, many empirical studies that tell positive relationship between diversity and innovation in public sector, because they say that the diversity, it affects employment commitments in the public sector, and it plays as a good leadership for inclusive organizational culture. So it is also a way of human resource management to enhance work motivation and a sense of belonging to the
Yeah.
organization, to
Yeah.
the society.
Agree.
Because when diversity is managed, the staff or the people who is getting the service, they think, oh, we are acknowledged, we're counted, we're accepted, and in the
Mm.
end, we're respected. So
Yeah.
I think that maybe this is why it affects the commitment and motivation of the people. And we're talking about innovation too. And I also believe diversity provides the opportunities of thinking out of box, because we can look into the social changes and social needs through the lens of minorities. Minorities
Mm.
here it means the youth, the old, people with disabled,
Yeah.
women, disabilities in women, and so forth. So then we'll be able to frame the social changes with a different perspectives, and it will allow us to make a noble public service. And I think this will be the first step of making an innovation. And this is why we are having this webinar, this P Talk,
Okay.
connecting diversity to innovation and productivity. So in this sense, we really hope our viewers have insights and good ideas provoking, and we really hope our discussion today help them deliver better public service in the future. So we wish the diversity cases to be shared in this video. So we really encourage our viewers to share the link with their colleagues and their friends. So before we finish, can I invite our speakers to leave a last message to our viewers? So can I request Professor Pikul first?
Last word. Okay, I think everyone will aware and realize the diversity in uh, their own society and engage everyone in our society and in our public organization, not only for productivity but for our living together as a whole country, the same value, the same culture and nation. Yes. That's it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Professor Titiek, please.
Well, I should say that we have to keep the diversity as a blessing, and also we have to respect to diversity because this is also a blessing and given from the God, and I think it's pretty nice to have like heterogeneous community, and then we can share the value, the culture. It's something like rich, yeah, well said. We have different kind of background, so we have to keep it and give respect, and then we can, keep this world colorful. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. I like the word colorful. Yes, now it's time to wrap up. So please stay safe and healthy. And thank you very
You
much
too.
for
Yes,
joining
you
us
too.
today.
Everyone
Okay.
who
Yeah,
watched this
everyone,
too.
stay healthy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you. Bye
and
bye.
thank you.
Huh?
Bye
Yeah, we
bye.
hope to see
Can we
you.
wave? Can we wave our hands? No?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.